the summit of subjugation. The Grand Convocation Hall on Arx Virelia glittered like a nebula forged in marble and malice. Pillars of crystalline stone reached skyward, inscribed with the conquests of the Galactic Empire. Alien delegates in opulent robes murmured in their native tongues, occasionally glancing toward the lone human standing at the base of the dais. Ambassador Maya Ren stood still as stone. Her black diplomatic uniform bore no rank insignia, no medals, only the small emblem of Earth on her left shoulder. Her dark eyes scanned the assembly, her posture immaculate. She had rehearsed for this moment 1,000 times. Now, standing before the very creatures who had scorched Earth's skies, her voice would be humanity's only weapon. At the center of the dais reclined Archduke Ziratek, a towering being of the Zerani species. Scaled and six-limbed, his golden eyes radiated contempt. He tapped a claw against the armrest of his floating throne, the sound echoing like a metronome of judgment. Ambassador Ren, he purred, his voice oily. You arrive bearing peace from a planet we've already conquered. How quaint. The hall erupted in polite laughter. Delegates from over 100 worlds smirked, sneered, or looked away in mild disinterest. Earth was a curiosity, defeated swiftly in what the Empire called a subjugation exercise. Maya's face remained placid. I come not to beg, but to speak. Earth honors the diplomatic accords, even in defeat. Ziratek waved a lazy claw. Yes, yes, always so obsessed with your codes and conventions. Charming, really. Tell me, do your people still believe that mercy wins wars? More laughter. This time it was sharper, meaner. Maya looked up at the Archduke, her tone even. We believe that how one conducts themselves in war reveals the true nature of their civilization. That silenced some of the laughter, but only for a moment. Do spare us the moralizing, said Chancellor Urel from the Varn Dominion, her voice like grinding glass. Your soldiers surrendered in droves. They cried, pleaded. We had to cleanse half our ships after they soiled themselves in our holding cells. A few delegates laughed. Others avoided Maya's gaze. Ziratek leaned forward, his golden eyes narrowing. Perhaps you misunderstand, Ambassador. This gathering is not one of equals. Earth has no seat on the Council, no voice in our decisions. Your presence here is merely ceremonial. Understand perfectly, Maya said, her voice suddenly colder. Do you? The Archduke replied, rising. Then allow me to clarify. Earth is a failed species. You fight like primitives, think like children, and cling to obsolete ideals. Your soldiers were, what did one of my admirals call them? Ah, yes, emotionally fragile meatbags. The final wave of laughter was the cruelest yet. Maya didn't blink. She reached into her coat and pulled out a small data crystal, holding it aloft. The hall dimmed as a projection bloomed into the air, grainy footage from a war. Rows of human soldiers, disarmed and bound, holding cells on Imperial vessels. A prison camp under gray alien skies. Then, flashes of fire. Screams. Human bodies collapsing as gas flooded chambers. Blurred footage of surgical labs. Dissections. Harvesting. The room fell silent. This, Maya said quietly, is what you did to our prisoners of war. A beat passed. Then two. Delegates shifted uncomfortably. A few of the more junior ones looked away, disturbed. Ziratek waved a claw dismissively. Propaganda. Maya turned to the crowd. You claim to be the guardians of order and civility. But Earth honored every rule of war. We treated your wounded. We buried your dead. We offered surrender. She pointed at the image of a human soldier strapped to an operating table, his eyes still open. And this is how you responded. Chancellor Urel sneered. Humanity is not a recognized member of the Accord. You are not entitled to protection. Maya let the crystal flicker off. We asked for no protection. We expected none. But understand this, you executed our prisoners. Not in battle, not in panic, but in cold, systematic procedure. Ziratek's voice turned low, venomous. So what? What will you do, little human? Cry before a throne? Demand justice from the very system that crushed your people? Maya stepped forward. No, I came here to give you your final chance to face justice. Publicly, voluntarily, she surveyed the silent hall. Because if you don't, Earth will make its own justice. And we will not ask again. The silence was heavier than before. Even the lights seemed dimmer. Maya turned on her heel and walked from the dais, her footsteps echoing like war drums in the stunned chamber. The weight of war crimes. The silence that followed Ambassador Maya Ren's departure from the convocation hall lingered for days. In the aftermath of her accusation, the Empire's internal communications flared with defensive memos, denials, and veiled threats. Official statements dismissed her claims as human dramatics. Yet beneath the surface, the galactic elite whispered in corridors and encrypted channels. Because deep down, some of them knew, others suspected, and a few had seen the truth with their own eyes. In her private, diplomatic suite aboard Earth's delegation cruiser, Maya sifted through old transmission logs. Each one was a ghost, faint voices of captured soldiers, most of them too young to understand what awaited them. If anyone hears this, tell my sister I'm okay. They said we'd be transferred to a central camp. They gave us food. Real food. I think things are looking up. Maya closed her eyes and exhaled. That soldier, Private Elena Cruz, disappeared 5 days later. The Empire had never acknowledged her capture. A soft chime echoed in the room. Commander Jules Avery, her aide and Earth's military liaison, stepped inside. His face was grim, his uniform pressed sharp as a blade. It's confirmed, he said. The Zerani didn't just execute the prisoners. They used them for biomedical testing. We found partial remains in 6 facilities across 3 systems. Names match the missing. Maya's jaw tightened. Do we have proof that links it to the Imperial High Command? Avery handed her a datapad. We intercepted orders signed by Archduke Ziratek himself. One of them authorized extractions for accelerated gene resilience studies. That's what they called it. Maya read in silence. Authorized by order of His Radiance, for the strategic benefit of the Empire and the advancement of synthetic immunity. Her fingers curled around the pad. They hadn't just executed them. They had used them. There's more, Avery said, lowering his voice. A Zerani defector, mid-level logistics officer. He's asking for asylum. Says he helped move the bodies. Maya looked up. Bring him to me. Now. The defector sat across from her in the dim-lit room, hands folded, head bowed. His name was Vrex, his gray-green skin mottled with stress patches. He couldn't meet Maya's eyes. I didn't know at first, he began. I thought they were prisoners being relocated, but the schedules made no sense. No returns, just deliveries. He took a breath. Then I saw the incineration logs. He tapped the table, and a hologram bloomed. Movement orders, biometric IDs, time-stamped autopsy logs. They didn't even try to hide it. Your people weren't treated as sentients. You weren't counted as combatants. You were labeled biomass. Maya's lips pressed into a thin line. Why come forward now? Rex hesitated. Because I watched a human child get taken from a civilian camp. They said she'd been accidentally captured, but they still used her. His voice cracked. I see her face every time I close my eyes. Maya stood. You will testify. Publicly. Rex looked up, fear in his eyes. They'll kill me. Then you'll speak before they get the chance. 3 days later, the chamber reopened. This time, Maya didn't walk in alone. The Empire's court had been convened again in response to the overwhelming chatter. Other worlds demanded answers. Maya stood at the center, Vrex beside her, trembling but resolute. She activated the hollow recordings. Testimonies, images, biometric confirmations. The horror unfolded without exaggeration, without embellishment. Just truth, stripped bare. Gasps echoed as images of mutilated soldiers appeared. One delegate from the Ilyari Confederacy stood and left, visibly shaken. Your empire, Maya said, voice clear, violated every tenet of galactic conflict law. You lied. You murdered. You desecrated the very concept of civilized war. Ziratek, now present by HoloLink, sneered. Humanity is not recognized by our accord. Your species was unworthy of those rights. Maya didn't flinch. So your defense is that we didn't qualify for mercy. The Archduke replied, "My defense is that you were inferior. You still are." A silence fell. Then Maya turned to the assembled council. "Let this be recorded," she said. Earth presented evidence. Earth obeyed every protocol. And Earth was answered with mass murder. Your empire does not deny it. Instead, it claims superiority as justification. She paused, letting that settle. You have one chance. Hold your own leaders accountable, or Earth will. A murmur spread through the delegates. Some eyes were hard with anger. Others flickered with shame. As Maya stepped back, she looked not at Ziratek, but at the rows of undecided alien races. Her voice rang out one last time. This is not just a human grievance. This is a warning. If you let this pass, you teach every future empire that war crimes have no cost. That mercy is for fools. That rules are only for the weak. She pointed at the sky. Earth is many things, but we are not weak. And we never forget our dead. The trap they didn't see. The Galactic Council had recessed, but the damage was done. Ambassador Maya Ren stood on the balcony of her quarters, gazing at the silver arc of Arx Varelia's twin moons. Below, lights shimmered from the alien capital, serene and unaware. But she knew what the stillness concealed. Rot, cruelty, and arrogance so deep it had become law. Commander Jules Avery stepped beside her. Council response is muted. No votes, no sanctions, just more posturing. They're afraid, Maya replied. They should be. She nodded slowly, her voice now razor-sharp. It's time. Avery handed her a secure comm link. One phrase. Say it, and every piece moves. Maya didn't hesitate. She activated the encrypted channel, lifted the device to her mouth, and spoke one sentence. Initiate Polaris Protocol. 6 months ago, humanity had lost a war. That was the Empire's truth. But Earth had learned a long time ago. War isn't just about battles. It's about information, about misdirection, about patience. While the Empire paraded its victory, Earth's survivors rebuilt in silence. Every loss had been studied. Every wrecked vessel, every broken soldier, mined for insight. Alien tech was reverse engineered. Human innovation enhanced it. Beneath the ashes of defeat, Earth forged something new. The Polaris Protocol was the culmination of that effort, a galactic insurgency decades ahead of its time. Hidden AI satellites mapped Imperial movements. Human-built drones infiltrated databanks and military installations. Captured tech allowed stealth ships to navigate untraceably through slipspace. But most dangerous of all were the alliances, the silent nods and handshakes with species that hated the Empire more than they feared it. They had waited for a signal. Now they had it. Across the galaxy, change detonated like a chain of lightning. In the Varick sector, a Zerani outpost went dark, hacked from within by human-designed viruses. On the mining world of Tarsus, slave revolts erupted as weapons were mysteriously lost by guards. In the shadow of the Empire's second moon, Earth's prototype stealth cruiser Vindication uncloaked in full view of orbital command, transmitting only one message. For the fallen. By the time the Council reconvened in emergency session, the Empire had lost 5 strategic nodes and 3 vassal races had declared independence. Archduke Ziratek appeared again by HoloLink, his eyes narrowed with fury. You orchestrated this rebellion? Maya stood in the center of the chamber, calm as stone. We didn't start the fire. You poured the fuel. This is terrorism. This is consequence. You think a few stolen ships and mercenaries will end the Empire? Maya stepped forward. I think you've underestimated humanity for the last time. She activated a holomap. It displayed dozens of red flares across Imperial space, each one a site of uprising, each one planned months in advance. Coordinated. Surgical. The murmurs turned into uproar. How did you do this? Barked a noble from the Jalari Commonwealth. We were listening, Maya said simply. While you were laughing, we were learning. You taught us how your systems work, where you store data, how you suppress rebellion. You taught us everything. Another image flickered to life, schematics of an Imperial dreadnought, its defenses highlighted, its weaknesses pulsing. 2 hours ago, Maya continued, we disabled one of your flagships. We didn't destroy it. We left it floating, just like our dead. Ziratek snarled. You dare threaten the sovereignty of the Galactic Empire? You already voided sovereignty when you executed unarmed prisoners, Maya said. But don't mistake this for revenge. This is law, enforced by those you denied it to. One of the neutral delegates, a centaur-like Narian elder, rose slowly. Ambassador Ren, what is it you seek? Recognition, Maya said. A tribunal. Accountability. And reform. We don't want to conquer. We want justice. Another voice spoke. Chancellor Urel, no longer smug. And if we refuse? Maya raised her eyes. Then Earth stops asking. Silence. Even Ziratek paused, calculating. Then, a soft chime echoed across the chamber. It was a priority transmission from the Empire's own intelligence network, leaked, intercepted, and projected by Earth's AI systems. A list of uprisings, failures, casualties, rebellions no longer containable. Maya didn't smile. Her voice carried no triumph. This isn't a war, Archduke. It's a reckoning. She left the hall in silence, but this time the delegates did not mock her. Behind her, the galactic order shifted, justice carved in fire. The Galactic Tribunal had not convened in over 3 centuries, not since the fall of the Creole Dominion. But now, on a neutral world scorched and scarred by old wars, the greatest powers gathered once more, summoned not by edict, but by pressure applied by Earth. Maya Ren stood in the heart of the obsidian amphitheater, her posture calm, her eyes sharp as razors. She was not alone this time. Flanking her were representatives from 4 races, the Veari, the Narian, the Roth, and even the reclusive Sharthan, former vassals, former enemies, all now bound by a simple truth. The Empire had gone too far. Across from her, encased in a transparent, grav-restraint field, floated Archduke Ziratek. His scales were dulled, not from age, but from rage. You've twisted the law into a cudgel, he hissed, his voice filtered through the field. You gather mongrels and cowards and call it justice. Maya didn't reply. She didn't need to. The evidence had spoken. 9,221 Earth prisoners confirmed executed or experimented on. 43 instances of unauthorized civilian targeting. Multiple forged surrender agreements. Signed orders. Mass graves. No more denials. Chief Arbiter Kellen of the Sharthuan addressed the room. His deep, monotone voice reverberated like thunder across the chamber. Under Article 17 of the Interstellar Conduct Accords, the Galactic Empire stands accused of gross violations of wartime law. This tribunal will render its judgment based on evidence and testimony, not reputation or fear. Ziratek bared his teeth. And when Earth breaks those same laws in its petty crusade, who judges them? Maya finally stepped forward. We submitted ourselves to the same review. Every battlefield, every strike, our actions are accounted for. The difference, Archduke, is that we had something you never understood. And what's that? He spat. Limits. The tribunal continued for 12 days. Testimony after testimony. Grieving families. Scarred defectors. AI logs. Intercepted orders. And on the 10th day, something no one expected. Maya submitted herself to cross-examination. Delegates protested. Even her allies were confused. But she stood tall. If I demand accountability, she said, then Earth must not fear it. She answered every question, confirmed civilian evacuations, explained every insurgent strike's rationale. Where mistakes were made, she admitted them. Where lives were lost by Earth's hand, she acknowledged the cost. By the end of her testimony, even her enemies saw it. Not a diplomat desperate for revenge, but a soldier who mourned every death, including those of her enemies. On the 13th day, the tribunal rendered its verdict. Ziratek was found guilty of war crimes. The Empire was ordered to pay reparations, disband its biological weapons division, and submit to ongoing third-party inspections. Every surviving officer involved in the prisoner program was to be extradited. But Maya knew what the real sentence was. Not the reparations, not even the tribunals. It was precedent. For the first time in living memory, the Galactic Empire had been held to account. Weeks later, aboard the Soul's Resolve, a human warship retrofitted from Imperial tech, Maya stood before a viewport as the stars crawled past. Commander Avery joined her, his uniform worn but his eyes bright. "It's done," he said. "No," she replied. "It's only started." He nodded, understanding. "The Council fears us now. They should fear what we represent," Maya said. "A species that learned everything they had and made it better. Faster. Harder. Because we had to. Do you think they'll come after us again?" She turned to him. "Not the same way. Not openly. But they'll try. And next time, we'll be ready." A chime interrupted their thoughts. A message on the secured line. Maya opened it. It was from a Vayari delegation. "We've voted to recognize Earth as a full member of the Galactic Accord." Motion passed. "Welcome." For a long moment, Maya didn't say anything. Then she smiled. Not with triumph, but with quiet vindication. "We came as beggars," she said. They laughed. "And now?" Avery asked. "Now they listen." She turned back to the stars. "We came here believing we had to prove our worth. That mercy and rules were things to be defended." She thought of the dead, of Elena Cruz and the others who never came home, of the prisoners used like animals. "They taught us the galaxy only respects strength," she whispered. "But we taught them something back." Avery raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" "That humanity's strength," she said, "isn't just in how we fight, but in how we remember." As the Soul's Resolve cut through space, its hull bearing the names of the fallen etched in steel, the galaxy watched. And for the first time in centuries, it blinked first.